All right, guys, this is the part where I get to tell you about our new live online SAT program. I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to kind of show you all the different features that it has. It's going to be so much fun to teach using this method, this framework, and hopefully you will be just as excited to learn as I will be to teach doing live online classes. So as you can see, I'm using a website called Click Webinar. You can see it up here in the corner. Uh, Again, that's the website we'll be using. That's the program we'll be using. Now for you guys, it's going to be free. I'm just going to give you a code. You'll be able to get in and join the class. What you'll see, there are a few different features in here. We have our chat box on the bottom, so we can do chats. I can see the attendee list. I can message people individually. I can change modes. Again, I don't know if some of this is showing up. We'll see as we go through the video later, but I have multiple modes, and the modes that I have, I'm looking at them right now, I have presenter only. Now, presenter only is a private mode where only I can talk. I have a Q&A mode, which means the attendees can ask questions. Presenters have options to grant or take back voice privileges, so we can still talk. And then I have listen only, where again all attendees are muted and they can't be unmuted. So again, there's different modes where we can talk and discuss. I can also share my screen with certain students depending on the situation. Now, the sharing screen option is really useful when I do private tutoring, which we can still do using this online forum. So even though I'm talking about the online SAT program, this could be used for any type of tutoring as well. So if you're looking for tutoring, but you don't live in Orlando, doesn't matter. I can still reach you and help you with that. Not only can I, but my other team of tutors can do that as well. So there are some other features I want to show you about. So actually, let me kind of do that. So what you will be able to do, and you'll see as I go through here, I'm going to bring up my iPad. I'm an iPad person. I use iPad for all my in-person tutoring. So if I'm tutoring somebody face-to-face, what I typically do is I do my work on my iPad. And when I'm done, I'm always able to email the work that I did to the student that I was tutoring. Well, I can do that here as well. We just share it. So if I bring this up, you can see that I am using my iPad on the computer screen. And I can do all my writing right on here. So you can see, if I write it, it shows up. And I can do whatever I need to do. I want to solve some problems. I can just kind of do the problems out here, get my answer, and then when I'm done, I can send an email. Okay, so that way, if I'm doing private tutoring or if I'm doing a class and you need to get the work that we did, I can send that work to you. Okay, so that is how I can use the online program to share my screen and send my work to you. Pretty neat. Also, I have surveys that we can do. Now, the way the surveys work, I can preload some questions. So let's say we're in a class and I want to do a time drill. Well, if I'm going to do that time drill, I'll do a survey with the class and I can see instant feedback on how the students did. So if I give this time drill with certain sets of questions, I can look at the results of that drill. I can have multiple choice answers. I could have short answers. I can have open responses, and I can kind of see what types of answers are students choosing, which types of ones are they getting right, if they're getting them wrong, what are they choosing, and that will help guide my lesson. One thing I always do with my classes, I always let students lead the class. I let their questions guide the lecture. So that's why I have these drills that helps guide my class to kind of see, okay, where are we as a class, and try to make it more individualized for the student. Also, this is where this will show up more in our private tutoring, but I can still use it in the class, and this is an interactive whiteboard. So you can see my pencil up here. I can do my writing. So if I want to write, I can write on here, circle answers, things like that. So we can use our virtual whiteboard, but you know me, I'm an iPad person, so I usually do my work on there. But if I want to interact, I can interact using the virtual whiteboard, or I can interact with my virtual desktop. So it's a lot of cool things that we can do here, but it is very interactive. It's not a one-way, I'm talking, you listen. There's an interaction going on. And I don't want, and I would not do a class where the interaction wasn't there. So this is a really cool system that's already in place. I'm excited to use it. As I said, hopefully you're excited to use it as well. All right, so getting back to our presentation here, so I was trying to go over the features. So those are a lot of the features, and again, that's my next slide anyway. So again, how it works when you use that Click Webinar. So how you'll get into here, I'm going to send an invitation. You'll see the dates. I'll have them set up on my website on my schedule, and I'm going to send an invitation to everyone who signs up for the class. All you need to do is set up a free account. If you're not hosting, you don't need to pay. So I'm going to give you the code to get in. So you'll use the code, you'll type it in, and you can even do this on your phone or an iPad or any Android device. They have apps for this, and you can join the class. It's pretty cool, pretty easy, okay? And then you have all these features as well that we can interact with. Again, it's pretty exciting. From there, I went over some of the features. The one thing that I did not talk about at this point is I did not talk about the file sharing. So what I can do is I can take my files before or after a class, and I can upload those files for you. Also records lessons. So if you happen to miss a class, there's going to be a video lesson of that class. I'm going to save every single video lesson. You'll let me know if you're absent. You'll get that video, and you can go back and see the class and take it again as a video. That's not as interactive at that point, but again, you weren't there, which happens, which is fine. But like I say, at least if you're not there, usually if you're not there, you have nothing. Maybe you can get notes from somebody or something like that. Well, here you get the actual lesson, so it's kind of cool. So those are some really neat features of doing a class online in a way, and certain features make it even better than a live class. Again, you lose some of that personal touch, I understand, but again, as you can tell, there's a lot of interaction still going on. Again, I would never teach a class where that personal touch is completely absent. So that's one thing that I really strive to do in all my classes. See how that personal touch. Okay. So again, some of the conveniences, or some of the benefits, convenience is one of them, benefits of taking a online class, a live online class, is again, one of those is convenience. You don't have to travel anywhere. You can just show up, get in your office or your room, wherever your computer is, and log in. You just pop up your iPad. Maybe you're on vacation and you don't want your vacation to interfere with your SAT class. Well, just take a couple hours of vacation, get your iPad out, get your phone out, and join the class. It's super convenient and it's really cool. And again, like I said, the online class has the recorded lessons for review. Or maybe you were at the class and you want to go back and review before you take the SAT. You can review your lessons, so it's kind of neat. And the best part is I've been tutoring for 10 years now, but I can only tutor the students in my general vicinity, and I have to go travel to them, or they'd have to come travel to me. Well, now all I got to do is go into my office and my wife's office, and I just log in, they log in, I can reach anyone all over the world. It's super easy, super convenient, and again, I'm able to spread my knowledge and my love for teaching to students all over the world. It's really neat. So again, I did tell you, I've really kind of previewed this, some of this already, and I can make a really giant chart with all the different comparisons between online classes, in-person classes. I just want to kind of give you a quick overview here of some things that popped into my head when I was thinking about the differences and the similarities sometimes between online classes and in-person classes. So one of the first, I have 4 things, so let's kind of walk through them real quick with you. So number 1, the ability to ask and receive answers to questions. Again, one thing that I would not be able to do an online class without is the ability to interact with my students. And as I talked about before, we have the chat box. Yes, we have that. We also can even talk, as I said earlier, through video chat. So I can click on a student and they can explain a question to the entire class. So we have that interaction. So yes, students can ask questions through the moderated chat box, but in addition to that, so it keeps going past that. In addition to that, we can actually hear their voice. So yeah, we can ask and receive answers to questions. You can ask away. Also in in-person class, we all know, you raise your hand, you can ask a question in class, but sometimes it's even easier. So sometimes you have students that are afraid, and some I've seen for years in classes, some students just don't like asking questions. It's so much easier for them to do if all they have to do is type it. Again, I can do the video questions, but sometimes people don't want to even do that, and that's okay, but you can type your questions. So I actually get more participation by doing an online class as opposed to an in-person class. Number two, the ability to work with groups and compare answers with others. Again, it's different, but we can still do that in an online class. That's where my polls come in. So you have two options if you want to work with a group. I always recommend students that they have friends that are similar skill levels. That's the key. If you have friends with similar skill levels, I always suggest taking the class together. If you take the class together, you can work together. You can do your homework together. And yes, there is homework when we do our classes. But we have the interaction also with our polls. So when we work on a timed drill, we can compare our work to everyone else's. It's instant feedback. And then I can use that data to then help teach the class. But we are going to have interactions, a different type of interaction, but we still have it. And you can still have the in-person interaction if you have friends that want to take the class together. And again, if you're in an in-person class, you just have to get with those people. But what the downside of that is I have to go around group by group to kind of see what issues there are, whereas online I get that instant feedback. So it's kind of neat. The ability to make up work. Okay, that's next up. As I said before, I've said a couple of times, the lessons are recorded. So since the lessons are recorded, we can then easily get the work made up. You just let me know, hey, I'm absent or I will be absent. I'll send that lesson to you. You'll have it, and then you can get to work that way. In-person class is a little bit harder, right? You can get notes from another student, maybe set up a time to talk to the teacher, but it's not always so easy. I said somewhat because, again, certain scenarios you are able to make up work, but it's not as easy as, hey, could I get the entire lesson sent to me in an email? Sure, okay, why not? Okay. And again, the only real downside to the online class, which I try to maximize, and I will maximize, as I said, is one of my big things, is that personal relationship with the students. What I like to do, and I plan on doing, is getting constant feedback from students. Students have always and will always help lead my class. So we're going to do that through our polls, through our video chat, through our texting chat box. We're always going to have that interaction. It's going to be a big part of the class. So if a student wants to interact, they're going to have that ability to do that. It never beats in person, but it's a really close second. And again, when you have all the other benefits, it kind of outweighs that one downside, which I am pushing to overcome. So in the end, I really feel online classes is better than in-person classes in many ways. Again, everyone's different in the way that they learn, but like I said, the online class, it's a wonderful, wonderful alternative to an in-person class, and I'm really excited to start teaching it. Okay, so that's a quick comparison. Again, as I said when I started this slide, there's a lot more, many more things I can talk about, but that's a quick synopsis. All right, so anyway, I've been talking about the structure of the class a little bit. We are going to do lecture. So yes, students lead my class, but I got to teach the lessons. So I'm going to teach the lessons. I have my lectures. We have our time drills. So once we're kind of going through the lecture, I like to drill the students and to kind of see where are they? Are they getting the lesson? From there, once we kind of do our lessons, we have our time drills or lectures, then I assign the homework. There is going to be homework for each class. Some of the homework is done through our time drills. So we are able to reduce that because we're working on it in class. But after every couple of lessons, I have a class that's really just a homework question review session, class, whatever you want to call it. And that whole lesson is dedicated to getting questions answered from students, seeing what types of issues they have before we move on to the next lesson. Also, the class has anywhere between 2 or 3 practice tests because you need to, I always tell students, even if you don't get any prep, you're going to learn something by taking these practice tests. So when we're learning all these strategies, you need to try to apply them to a real practice test before you take the actual real test. So every class is going to have practice tests. I like to do one before, one at the end, and if we have time, we'll even do a third. I'll do as many as I can fit into a class. So this is what a class would look like. What you would see here, this is I know it says spring, starts actually in the summer here, but this is just a sample class anyway. So if you're kind of looking here, you'd see, okay, June 1st, starting a class. practice test results. So again, what will happen before we start the class, you're going to be receiving a practice test for you to take. We'll go over the results and how to, again, I can't score all your tests, but I will help you score them. So we'll score them together. We'll get our scores. I'll receive your scores to kind of see where you're at, and then we're going to kind of go over that test. That'll be our first meeting, and then we start the class. So what you'll see, the first actual class after the practice test results overview, I'm going to talk about the structure of the class, what type of assignments we're going to have. Let's talk about the SAT in general. And then we do our lessons, math strategy, reading strategy, homework overview. Before we move on, are you getting the lessons? So again, I'll answer that by getting feedback from you. You will lead those lessons. And then obviously I'll be going over any of the homework questions that you have, things like that. And then again, math, arithmetic, reading, homework overview. So again, you'll see math, English, review. Math, there's two parts. This is the big one. Writing, which is English, review. English with the essay, math, review. So it's very repetitive in that sense, but it's like, again, I'm not going to keep moving through a course if you're getting lost. So there's always that feedback, and like I said, with the online class, that feedback is something that you really need to push for. If you don't push for feedback, it can very easily turn into a class where I talk all the time. And that's not how I'm going to structure my online classes. There's going to be a lot of interaction. Okay? So again, this is just a sample schedule. You'll see there are a lot of class meetings. When we do this class, it's a class. We're not going to meet just a couple of times, 18 hours or 20 like some classes will do. This is a full class. I'm doing everything. I'm covering everything that's on the test in detail. And I'm taking time to review your questions. So not only am I just teaching it, but I'm able to review it with you consistently. Multiple sessions are dedicated to review. All right, now I was going to do this in another video, but it's really kind of short, so it's just one page. When you take the class, I want to make sure you're aware there are 2 books that you need to get for this class. These are separate books that you need to have. You have the Master Scholar Student Workbook. This is our student workbook because it's an online class. You're going to need to order this book so it can get mailed to you. If I tried to mail all of them out individually, it would be a nightmare. So it's easy. Just go on to my website and you will see a tab on the top for the workbook. Again, just click on that. If you can't find it, you can always email me, but you want to get the workbook. The workbook is going to be all of our lessons. Every single lesson that I go over, every lecture that I take, I'll be using that book. So you want the book. Second, you want to get the official SAT study guide. You can get the practice test from the official SAT study guide off of Khan Academy. However, there's a front portion of that book that I use, especially for some of the essay writing sections, that's not in the practice tests. So we need the book. So you need to have that book as well. These are the 2 books you'll use. Again, the Master Scholars Student Workbook. That's going to be used for our lectures. All our homework and homework review will be done in the official SAT study guide. So when it comes to materials, that's what you need. So again, that's the online class. Again, it is going to be awesome. I can't wait to get started. Hopefully you can't wait either. If you have any questions, again, feel free to email me, visit my website, and I'll see you guys in the next video.